You come in pretty hot. How do you keep that momentum going and not cast this off at, well, this is not a conference game. We got to put the same intensity into it.
I think as a coach and as a player, you know who you're playing, and certainly we understand that South Carolina is in the SEC conference. It's one of the best conferences in the country. We know that they're a very storied, program with a lot of tradition and success in their history. And so, for us, it's easy to say, just take it as another game, but we're going to be excited, as I'm sure they will be. But once the game starts and the first pitch is thrown, it's softball. And so I trust that our team will be ready to play and execute.
Coach, at this point in the season, I mean, you have a really impressive record, and I know you had high expectations for this program coming in a few years ago, but now that it's actually all coming to fruition and you're ranked nationally, what does it kind of mean for you to see where you're at at this point?
I'm not going to lie. It feels really good to have the success that we've had in such a short amount of time. We tell our team all the time, not to take these times for granted. Winning is hard. It's hard at this level, and certainly we want to embrace the success that we had this year and keep doing what we're doing. But winning for granted. We know that there's a lot of preparation. We know that we have to continue to do that to be successful.
Make things a little more intense in the rivalry that they are the established program, and you guys are kind of the upstart at the end of the game.
I don't think so. I mean, the players have played against growing up in softball, so I haven't put a lot of weight into that aspect of the rivalry. We're excited to go play South Carolina. They're a great team, and looking forward to a great night of competition.
Hey, Coach, I just want to switch gears a little bit, ask you a question about Valerie. After the season got cut short last year, maybe it was early last year, maybe it was at the beginning of this year. When did you realize that she had big time for softball?
Well, we knew that when we recruited her. When you're in the business of recruiting and coaching, you don't overlook talent too often. And so the first time that Coach Jameson and I saw Valerie play, we knew she was going to be special, and we just had to talk her into coming to Clemson. So that was the first challenge. But even last year, although the year was cut short, Valerie was doing a lot of really good things, and I think the experience has definitely helped her for this year. She's matured a lot. She's been in big games now. She's dealt with injuries and dealt with some adversity. So she was very well prepared coming into this year. And a lot of it goes to Valerie's work ethic and what she's done on and off the field to get her ready to have this success.
To have two complete games or two no-hitters in a week from her, I mean, her potential, but to see everyone else talking about it, how does that feel?
She's been knocking on the door this season a couple of times. So to see her finally break through that barrier and get the first no-hitter, albeit a 5-inning no-hitter against Winthrop, was pretty special. But to see her turn around and do it again on Sunday, you just don't see that a lot in any sport at any level. We appreciate that and don't take it for granted and understand that she's worked very hard to put herself in a position to throw those no-hitters. She fields her position very well, and she throws with velocity. She can change speeds, and she hits her spots. And when she does that, she's very difficult to hit.
Having the season stopped suddenly last year, and you had a pretty good momentum going there. Talk about the team's mindset coming into this season with that, you always had that idea that it could be turned off at any time here.
Well, I think, every sport and every program in the country that got shut down last year understands now the importance of not taking, the games for granted. And really coming into fall ball, you got a sense that our players were locked in and focused and just appreciative to be able to play the game that they love to play. And that's made a huge difference with our team this year in our preparation and focus. They know that the game can be taken away from you just like that. And whether it's a pandemic or a career-ending injury, it can all end today, and not to take that opportunity for granted.
looking forward to Saturday or this weekend series. Talk a little bit about them and what fans can look for from North Carolina State.
North Carolina State's a very good team. They're on a winning streak right now, and they have some great upperclassmen in their program that have provided a lot of big moments for them. They're an explosive offensive team. They hit a lot of home runs, and they're right there fighting for their postseason lives and for a placement in the ACC tournament. So we're expecting a big challenge weekend this coming weekend against North Carolina State.
And finally, we've talked so much about the pitching and all, but your defense has been putting out some web gems out there. Talk a little bit about what they've worked on and how they've polished, especially in the outfield.
Well, I think the biggest thing with defense is it's a mindset. You know, you really have to stay focused, and sometimes that's hard to do with Valerie and Millie and Reagan, our pitchers, when they strike out a lot of hitters. You know, and but we struggled last year defensively, and we made that a priority with our team. Is that we've got to improve defense. You know, on the defensive side of the ball. We hit the ball extremely well, and we've got good pitching in the last year and a half, and that was one of the areas that we knew we had to improve on, and I think we've done that. And again, that's a tribute to our players' hard work and their putting the work in to improve defensively.
And defense kind of lets the pitcher kind of relax and do her job.
No question. I mean, in Valerie's no-hitter on Sunday, we had a couple of spectacular plays, one by Cammie Pereira, our second baseman, and one by Ansley Gilstrap, and our first baseman, Kaya Keller, made a good stretch on both plays. And, you know, without those plays, both of those balls are infield hits. So, it's a team effort anytime you get a no-hitter, and everybody played a part in that.
Anybody have anything else for Coach Rittman?
Coach, this is Matt. Coach, can you hear me okay?
Coach.
Sorry.
Matt Conley's
All right.
asked.
Oh, hi, Matt. I forgot about the iPad here.
Hey, Coach, sorry. I know you were talking about Valerie earlier and recruiting her. That first time when you saw her, do you remember details of that and when and where that was?
I do. She was a starting pitcher in the game that Coach Jameson and I watched, and we watched her warm up, and automatically you could see the velocity in her pitches, and then watched her pitch 3 innings of that game, and she was pretty dominant, had a lot of strikeouts. And then in the 4th inning, the coach moved her to center field, and we watched her track down some balls in the outfield and watched her make a couple of throws. And then she came up to bat, and I believe she hit a double off the fence. And, so that first time watching her, we knew she was a special talent and knew that we were going to recruit her.
You remember what year that was?
That was the summer of 2018.
Okay. And then I guess there's a difference between being like good college player and being, I guess, on the verge of maybe a program changing type or at least program building. Just how important has she kind of been? And did you know that you were getting that kind of player? Obviously you knew she was good, but did you know she was going to be this good?
You knew she was talented. Now, how that transitions into Division I softball is always a big question. We knew she had a great work ethic. We knew she had the drive and determination to be successful at this level. And then, once you get here, then it's about making the transition. Can you handle the academic load? Can you do the things necessary to balance, your social life, academics, and softball? And Valerie's done that tremendously well. And she just works hard at her craft every day. And there's a reason she's so successful. And a lot of it goes to just her preparation and how she does her day-to-day business.
The last thing for me, has there been any challenges as you guys have won more and more games with trying to, I guess, instead of kind of being the underdog and being going into the hunted role and being, a top 25 team and that kind of stuff, kind of handling success?
There's been a few challenges. I think different. And we kind of got that at the beginning of the year. We knew that off of our success last year that people were not going to take us for granted. But now there's a mindset that you have to understand that, every game, especially in the ACC conference, you got to be at your best or you're liable to get beat. And the biggest thing that we've done is try not to overlook any opponent. The game doesn't know who's supposed to win the game, so we got to go out and play the game, not the opponent. And then, secondly is we can't carry a big weight on our shoulders because we've had the success that we've had. We've got to embrace it and understand that, nobody really expected us to be in this position and to continue what we've been doing all year. And that's to go out and have fun, play loose, relaxed softball and let everything play out, and I think we're learning how to do that as the season progresses here.
Hey, Coach. It's,
Anything else for
Zach.
Coach Rittman?
Can you hear me, Coach?
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. How big has the additions and the transfers of Ansley and Casey in the infield been? Obviously, when you signed them, you didn't know Hannah would be down for the season, but they've made some huge plays, not only in the field, but at the plate, too, for you guys.
Yeah, all of our transfers have added a lot to our program, from a leadership standpoint, but also their ability to play the game of softball. And, Ansley Gilstrap, Cami Pereira, Grace Matamore, Bailey Taylor. I think I'm forgetting one there. Marissa Gombarda, our number 4 hitter, So all of those players have provided a lot of leadership for us, but they've also produced on the field as well. Who'd I forget?
And
Casey
Coach, when
Bigham. You asked me about
talking with
Casey.
some of
Sorry.
when talking with some of your players, their favorite thing about this team is the sense of family around the clubhouse and the dugout. Is that something you kind of install as the manager? Is that something that just kind of comes naturally when they all got on campus?
It's definitely one of our core values to have a family atmosphere here. And, when you're together so much during the course of a year, that there's going to be times when you have some, disagreements. There's going to be times that, you're going to struggle and have some adversity. And, being a family is going to help you through those tough times. And it really makes us appreciate the good times. But, it's something that, it's hard to instill without quality leadership. But it's one thing that the coaches and the players have bought into is that we want to be a big family here. And we want to enjoy our successes and work hard. But to truly enjoy the game and to truly enjoy being a college athlete at this level, you have to have a family atmosphere. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that so far.
And Coach, has there been any talks about remaking up that Notre Dame series?
There have not at this time. No, we are in final exams after North Carolina State, and then we have the Syracuse series left to play. So there's been no talk at this time about making that series up.
Any other questions?
Thank you all. Thanks for
Coach.
being here.
Thanks,
Appreciate the
Thanks,
support.
Coach. Appreciate it. All right, up next, we'll have graduate infielder Ansley Gilstrap. And Ansley is a native of Blythewood, South Carolina. And we'll open it right up to questions.
Pick one step up for me.
There you go. Well, Ansley, being from the state, being from the Columbia area, how much does this rivalry mean to you, and how excited are you to finally get it started off in softball?
I'm really excited to start off Clemson Carolina first rivalry game. I grew up in the Columbia area going to games, so this is pretty exciting. I remember, I transferred from USC Upstate, and so before Clemson Softball was here, Upstate and Carolina were the best teams in the state, so we would play each other, and that was our rivalry game. And those games are always so much fun.
Did you grow up a South Carolina fan?
I did not. I grew up a Clemson fan. Both my parents graduated from Clemson, so that's why that happened. It was always weird being from Columbia, being a Clemson fan, though.
How has the success of this program been for you? Obviously, growing up in the area, have a lot of people reached out to you and just kind of said, wow, you guys are doing really well.
Yes, it's so funny how many people have jumped on the Clemson softball bandwagon, even if they're not softball fans themselves. They're Clemson softball fans. It's nice. It's so fun.
After everything that transpired for you personally, and then with COVID last year, how much fun has it been to come out and just play softball and have the winning streaks that you guys have had and win games in the fashion that you have been this season?
It's been a lot of fun. It wouldn't be quite as much fun without the people around you, of course. And obviously, great coaches, great teammates. They've made it a lot of fun and made it possible to be back out here and been so supportive of my recovery and journey. And it's been lots of fun to play the game again one more time.
Does it make you appreciate playing here a little bit more?
Of course. Oh, absolutely. Never take it for granted. Yes. exactly that.
We heard about family earlier, about this group being a family. Talk about how that helped you. Talk about the boost you got mentally and physically and getting back on the field.
Definitely. It was a tough time, really tough. In a lot of pain, mentally, physically down. But without those text messages daily from some teammates, from coaches, they'd be like, "You're going to be back out there. You're going to be fine. It's going to be good. We got your back. We miss you. Love you. Praying for you." All those things. Those words definitely kept me going. Big part of it.
Hey, Ansley, you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hey, my name's Chandler. I work with WLTX here in Columbia. Got a couple questions for you. Just one, what went into kind of your decision of like transferring to Clemson in the first place? Well, you kind of said you're a Clemson. You grew up a Clemson fan, right?
Yes, sir. I learned a lot from upstate. I was really happy with those 3 years there, and just kind of came to the conclusion that it was my time to leave and find somewhere else to go and learn a lot of things. And Clemson, of course, was one of the ones that intrigued me the most, you know, not being a huge Clemson fan my whole life, and then starting a brand new program also. And I'm thankful Coach Rittman gave me a chance to come help support this team and help get us to where we are now. It's been a lot of fun. I'm super thankful.
For sure. And now, can you kind of talk to us just about, I mean, we kind of know your story, but just talk to us about your journey over the past couple of years and just the health battles that you went through and things like that.
Right. So my whole life I had some headaches and stuff like that, and had some symptoms. When I transferred, I redshirted, so didn't really think much anything about it. And then we got started back again, and then that fall we got started in 2019. My headaches had escalated to like migraines, and I was having lots of trouble, you know, playing softball, and it would affect me in my daily life too, like driving and stuff like that. So then I was like, okay, something's definitely wrong. I talked to our team doctors, who were also super great, and they got me into the doctor's appointments that I needed to see, and helped diagnose me with my condition, I guess. So Chiari Malformation was what it was called. Basically born with a shapen skull, or I guess. And then I ended up having those surgeries, got it fixed, and then had some complications after that, and that kind of put me out because I was planning on playing. I had the surgeries in that December of 2019, was still planning on playing in February 2020 until those complications hit, and so that set me back a little bit. And that was a big disappointment, definitely, because at that point there was no timetable. I was supposed to be back in February, and now I was out for who knew how long. That's when those text messages from teammates and phone calls and house visits came in handy, and were a big support, because at that point I had no clue what was going to happen. It was a lot of unknown, and that's definitely scary, but never got the chance to really be that scared with some family support like I had.
Yeah, gotcha. And then my last question for you is just, you kind of touched on just what is it going to be like to be back in Columbia, back in the area, and playing possibly in front of your family and so close to home?
I've already got some heckling text messages, phone calls, so the heckling already started. We're excited. Got to remember, as much as the rivalry means, that it's still the same game, and we definitely can't play like our coach said. Can't play our opponents. We're playing the game, and the game doesn't know who's gonna win or anything like that. So we just gotta keep it simple. Go out there and just play, have fun.
You've been able to give your teammates some insight into the program in Carolina, what it means to this area.
It's definitely no secret in this area. You know, Clemson versus Carolina. That's a pretty big deal. So they know. We've talked about it some too, and we're just excited for this first game. Definitely. So it's great. She mows them down, makes my job pretty easy. You know, gotta stay on your toes sometimes though, because then that one occasional, she doesn't strike everyone out, so you got to be ready. So she's great. It gives you lots of confidence when she's being so successful. And then with her hitting too, definitely she gives herself the run support sometimes. Our hitting's not always right there where it needs to be, and she doesn't ever let that discourage her. She'll go out and help herself.
How do you stay focused when you've got someone striking everybody out? I mean, you've got to keep up with it.
I know. It's just sometimes you're just like, Val, can you just not strike it? Why you have to be so good? But that's fun. That's it takes. It's funny. That's a good question, but you just gotta sometimes call timeouts, go out there, talk to each other, keep each other in it, be like, just stay involved and continue to communicate and talk, and that keeps you on, of course.
Anything else for Ansley? Thanks, Ansley.
Thank you so much.
Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
We'll open it straight up to questions for Valerie.
Summer coach Rittman was talking about recruiting you in 2018. You had 525, had 80 strikeouts, only 50 innings. Can you talk a little bit about what the process was like choosing Clemson without a program so early?
It's hard to pass up on an opportunity to be a part of something culture that could just that is so special. So an opportunity when not a lot of people get that opportunity, it's hard to pass up.
Was his reputation something that you looked at and said, "Hey, I'd really like to be coached by him"?
For sure. And to be honest, I knew more about Coach Jameson because of Herman, and I had had some interaction with him in the past than Coach Rittman. But you look at Redsman and Coach Rittman, and they somebody who is like just special. Yeah, I looked at there were some other ACC schools, and some Virginia schools, but there's just something about Clemson that was just different. So.
How excited are you to go down to Columbia tomorrow night, face off against the state rival?
Yeah, I've never actually been a part of a rivalry game, being homeschooled. Like, I didn't have that opportunity, and then travel ball, you don't really get a part of that. So I'm definitely excited to see what a rivalry game's like.
To see it from getting recruited when there wasn't even a stadium to now being here and having all this success, what's it been like the last 2 years?
I mean, I remember on my unofficial taking a picture in the open field that was now where the field is, and so it's crazy, but it's also, with having somebody like Coach Rittman and coaching staff that he's put together and the talent that he's been able to recruit, it's not something that's very surprising for us because we see what we can do on a daily basis and in scrimmages. So it's definitely something that it's nice to see that we're now getting the recognition for, but it's not surprising for like us in Berlin.
Now, 2 no-hitters, and I know you don't like to talk about your own stats, but very, very, very impressive week for you last week. What was it like for you to see your teammates support you in the way that they have? Because I know you don't want to talk about you pitching, but how they've really embraced the way that you've been successful.
It's a lot easier to do what I can do when I know that I have their support through, run support and defensive, I mean, in that 4th game against Boston College, if Camby and Nancy hadn't made those plays, it wouldn't have been a no-hitter. And so knowing that I can maybe miss my spot a little bit and they still have my back makes it a lot easier for me to go out and just focus on doing what I'm doing.
How big of a help for you is that in the circle to know that you're freed up to allow a few ground balls and that kind of thing in your infield?
Yeah, it's definitely helpful. I don't have to stress out about, making the perfect pitch every single time because I know that if I give up, a hit or even if I give up a hit, that throw can have me outfield to save the run. Like, even if it is a hit, it's not just them saving hits, it's just them making great plays.
And are you going to be able to take a step back at some point, maybe not during the season, but after the season and kind of look back and say, wow, I had a pretty good year?
I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I can't, go back and look at stats or really focus much on what I've been doing throughout the year to stay focused. So it's not something I can really go back and look at. So maybe after the season's over, yeah. But for now, it's kind of just, we have 2 more conference series and, South Carolina and then going into postseason. So that's really focus.
Have you had a preference between being in the circle and being in the batter's box this season?
Not really. And that's a question I've never really known how to answer. I definitely prefer pitching over playing outfield. I love playing outfield, but pitching is just so much more of a competitive thing. And, it's me versus you, and I don't want to let you win. So I definitely like pitching more than outfield, but between hitting and pitching, I've never really been able to figure out which one I like better.
You said you had to work on things after 2 no-hitters. What did you look at and say, I need to do this better?
Not necessarily with the no hitters. I feel like I did better this past week getting ahead of batters and not going into as many deep counts, but more hitting for me. I think that, just staying relaxed and not overthinking things in the box is the big thing for me.
Does your pitching style change with your venue? Like here, we've been talking about the wind and things here. How do you look at pitching at home as opposed to pitching somewhere on the road?
It's not really that much different. I mean, you kind of have to adapt to the different mounds and, playing surfaces, but most of the fields we play at are already really nice facilities because of, being in the ACC and just having the resources. So that's not really much of a factor.
How much of your teammates been able, like Ansley, to explain to you the big nature of this rivalry? Because, like you said, you haven't really experienced the rivalry before.
I think you look at football and baseball and you can kind of figure it out a little bit, but definitely you have the kids like Ansley and Bailey who've lived in South Carolina their whole life and have grown up Clemson fans and really know that rivalry. So they definitely let you in on what it means to them, especially.
Did anyone grow up a South Carolina fan in your dugout?
I don't think so.
They wouldn't admit it.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Well, I once was, not anymore.
Valerie, has your off the field life and your day-to-day life off the field changed at all now that you're getting, this recognition for, the no-hitters and being able to rake in the
Not really. Especially for us, just, coming to practice and doing school, it's kind of what you have time